There are quite a few is functions within Excel. Now, normally they're used within if statements to check whether something is something else. Now, these are pretty much the most common is functions in Excel. And you can see we've used them in cells B1 onwards and then exposed them in cell D1 onwards by using the formula text formula, which is new to 2013. So I can see what the functions are. Now, is blank returns true. All of these is functions do just that. They either return true or false. If what you're checking is true, if not, it returns false. So A1 is blank, therefore I get a true value. If I put a number in, I get returned false. Is and is error are two very similar functions that just check for any generic error message, except for the fact is does not check for NA. If we have a look and delete the start of the function, you can see that is checks whether a value is an error. So it's checking for hash value, hash ref, hash divo, hash num, hash name, or hash null, but it doesn't check for hash NA. Whereas is error checks for hash NA and then also hash value, hash ref, divo, num, name, and null. So the is error checks for that one extra, which is the NA one, although we'll see down the list it has its own little is function anyway, which is why it's taken out of the is option. So these are currently returning false because there's no errors. Is even returns true because 0 is an even number. But if we put 7 in, which I know is odd, I get a false value. So we can check for whether a value is returning odd or even. Is formula currently returning false because there isn't a formula, and is formula is a new function to 2013. If I actually put the formula in there that simply adds up the cells above it, then that changes to true because there is a formula. Is NA, we've seen that one in action with our VLOOKUPs, because if the lookup returns a not applicable item, we get hash NA. Is non-text returns true because the cell effectively is empty, so it's null. If I put a number in, it still remains true. But if I put my name in, it returns false because my name is text. So therefore, is non-text is a false value. Is number returns false, but if you put a number in, it changes to true. Put text in, it goes back to false. Is odd, so an odd number would return a true value, an even number would return a false value. Is ref effectively is asking if the cell we're looking at, which is in this case A10, is a valid reference. And in fact, looking at A10, it is a valid reference. There's no problem with trying to pick out the wrong cells or anything. We've seen that one in action with our index and match functions. And then the final one here is just simply is text. So that's the opposite to is non-text. If I put my name, let's be original, we get true. If we stick any kind of numeric value in, we get a false. So each of these is functions will usually be embedded inside an if statement, and then they're part of a checking clause. If is blank of something, so if it's true, then we can pull ourselves out into the true part of the if statement. If not, we pull ourselves out into the false part of the if statement.